Welcome to this video. We're going to show you how to complete your food diary with some common examples of food. To get started, we need our food diary, a pen, and a set of kitchen scales. Your scales don't have to look like these ones, any set of kitchen scales will actually do. We need to weigh out the food and not estimate this just by looking at the size of the portion in relation to our plate. This will give us and you a more accurate account of what's being eaten over the course of a number of days, and if we're trying to tie this into the information from your blood glucose diary, then it will reveal some very important and relevant information for your diabetes management. Before we get started, just a few disclaimers. The content of this video is put forth as entertainment purposes only, and this creator makes no claims, promises or guarantees about the accuracy, completeness or adequacy of the procedures and instructions contained therein. The creator of this content expressly disclaims liability for errors and omissions that any viewers of this video might declare that exist in the information as presented. No liability exists or can be ascribed to this content creator in the event of any accident or injury that might occur as a result of improper application or understanding of the procedures and information contained in this video. Let's start with breakfast and say we want to have some cereal with some milk. Let's take our scales and set them up and have our bowl ready. So here we've got our cereal, which is some Harvest Morn multigrain hoops. On the back we have the nutritional values, which we'll refer to a bit later. For the examples in this diary, we're just going to use some typical servings as examples. What we want you to do is just to measure out what you normally would have to eat, and then we can make the adjustments later. This video isn't showing examples of what you should eat or how much you should eat and what you should be eating. This is just simply showing some examples on how to fill out the food diary using some common foods. We pour our cereal into the bowl and measure one serving of 30 grams, as you can see here. We can now start to enter the information into our food diary and start to make entries into the breakfast line of the diary. Let's assume we're having breakfast at 9 AM. Under the type of food, we're going to put down that they are multigrain hoops and the make of the hoops is Harvest Morn. Remember, under the weight of the item we measured out 30 grams, so enter that in this box. We now need to look at the nutrition information on the back of the box, so then we can enter that information on the right hand side of the diary. These nutritional values are per 100 grams. We just need to enter the values which you find on the food packet or on the box. Your clinician will know what to do with these figures at your review. If you look at the back of the box, we can see per 100 grams we have 364 calories as energy, noted as kilocalories, or as can be seen here, kcal for short. If you look at the fat content, you can see here there's 2.9 grams per 100 grams, and we'll now enter this into the fat column. If we look under carbohydrates, we can see per 100 grams of cereal there is 69 grams of carbohydrate. What is also important is we need to know how much of these carbohydrates are actually sugar. As we can see here, 17 grams of the 69 grams of carbohydrate is sugar. We can now enter this value into the column saying how much of the carbohydrates is sugar. Let's see how much protein is in the cereal for 100 grams. As we can see here, it is 9.3 grams of protein in 100 grams of the cereal. We now enter this into the protein column. We'll also have to take into account the milk which we're going to pour into the cereal. Let's prepare our scale again. We now pour our milk into the cereal. Pour in how much you would usually use, so then we can get an idea of how much food is actually being eaten. In this case, the scale initially has said 124 mils of whole milk, so let's enter these details into our diary. Again, underneath the type of food column, we're going to enter milk. Under the brand of milk, we can see here that it's Cowbell. Let's now enter our volume of milk from our scale. We can now see the value as 122 mils. Let's now enter our nutritional values, as we can see here on the side of the milk carton. We have per 100 mils of milk 65 kcals, 3.6 grams of fat, 4.7 grams of carbs, of which 4.7 grams is actually sugar, and 3.5 grams of protein. Let's now add this to our diary. We're now finished with our food for breakfast. If we move to lunch, let's say we want to have a slice of bread. It's a very similar process to the cereal. Here we have Village Bakery Tiger Bloomer bread from Aldi. We need to enter the weight, so going back to our scale, let's weigh our bread. Place the bread on the scale and note down the weight, which in this case is 67 grams. Let's enter the weight into our diary. We now need the nutrition information from the bread packet as before. We can see here 100 grams of bread, there is 260 kcals, 2.4 grams of fat, 49 grams of carbs, of which 3.4 grams is sugar, and 9.4 grams of protein. Let's now say with the bread you're going to have this with some spaghetti hoops. Here we have a 205 gram tin of spaghetti hoops by Heinz, and we can see our nutrition information on the side per 100 grams. Also we can see one of these cans is 1 serving. Let's enter this into our diary as hoops and the make as Heinz. And of course there's 205 grams in this can. Now let's enter our nutrition information per 100 grams. We have 40 kcals. We have 0.2 grams of fat, 7.5 grams of carbohydrate, of which 1.3 grams is sugar, and 1.7 grams of protein. If we move to dinner, let's say you're going to have some rice. Here we have some microwave basmati rice, and let's assume we will eat half the packet at 140 grams. Let's now enter this information into our diary. If we look at our nutritional information per 100 grams, we have 140 kilocalories, 2.7 grams of fat, 26 grams of carbs, of which less than 0.5 grams is sugar, and 2.7 grams of protein. Now let's say we want to have a snack. In this case, we will have an apple. There are some spaces to make some additional entries. Again, let's get our scales and weigh out our apple. In this case, it weighs 134 grams. Let's enter the details into the diary under meal, enter the word snack, and say we will have this at 5:30 p.m. and this is a Cox apple, and enter the weight of 134 grams. This apple is actually from Tesco, so usually the nutritional information is on the packet. In this case, we don't actually have the packet, so we'll take the nutrition information from the Tesco website, as you can see here, and again we enter these values as per 100 grams shown in the diary. You'd follow the same process for your evening meal if you have one, and your diary should look something like this. You can complete this for 3 to 7 days and provide the information to your clinician for review. If you've got any other questions, please ask your healthcare professional, and all I can say now is thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.